Welcome back to American Muslim Project. For many listening, you won't find it surprising that many Muslim voices are being silenced or deleted online. It seems to me that almost every single day since October 7th, even before that, someone in my feeds has posted about another Muslim voice that has had his or her accounts banned temporarily or deleted altogether. Recently, digital creator Neebs had his TikTok account deleted by the platform. I asked him to join American Muslim Project to talk about that experience and a whole lot more. Neebs, thanks so much for joining American Muslim Project. Really grateful for you to come. I think I want to talk first about you being blocked on TikTok. Can you tell me, like, how did you find out?
Yeah, so, one day I just woke up and my account wasn't there, I wasn't logged in, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder what happened," and I thought maybe I got hacked, but it turned out that my account got banned on TikTok, and I
That's
was trying to figure out what I was doing. There was really no, like, warning, no, indication of, like, which video might have done it, and then I just kinda went back and I was like, "What was going on?" I noticed that there were some videos that were going viral. Mostly a lot of my stuff that I do is harmless. I post clips of TV
yeah,
shows, movies,
for
my
sure.
reactions to them, a few takes on Marvel, Star Wars. I really got popular because of Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was a show
Yeah,
where it's a Muslim superhero and she's from New
totally.
Jersey. Her last name is Khan. She's Pakistani. I'm also a Pakistani. My last name is Khan. I'm from New Jersey. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to go talk about all of this stuff. So, because of that, I got a really big following in the comic community and I go to
Yeah,
Comic Con and stuff like that all the time.
that's great.
And I wanted to talk more about diversity in media. So it was a big part of, like, bringing the nerd community together with the South Asian community, with the Muslim community, kind of building us a little corner of the internet. And it was really, really cool. And then things started happening in the Middle East, in Gaza, and I couldn't just not do anything. I couldn't just, like,
Yeah,
sit
sure.
back
I think
and I had this platform that I somehow got, and it felt irresponsible not to use it to spread awareness to everything that was happening. Um, so that's what I started doing. I started posting about Palestine. I started posting about mainly the media biases that were involved in that.
for
Like,
sure. A lot we're seeing,
yeah,
right?
a
And
lot where,
getting worse all every day.
exactly, like, there were people who are, they belong to the same talent agency, and there's people saying horrible things about people in Gaza, like Amy Schumer, and then Melissa Barrera, who is on the same talent agency, getting shut down because she posted a link to a donation site, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
like, it's crazy what one side can get away with and what the other one, and I was calling out a lot of these biases, and I actually went to a few protests, and I think this is the video that got me banned. But I went to a few protests, and there was an organization claiming that there were Nazi symbols at this protest, and people were saying "Death to
Mm,
Israel." And I had full video footage of the entire event at Rutgers. I had, I panned the video to every single person, and I showed that, hey, here's the clip from the video. There's not a symbol, not a single symbol of Nazi propaganda or anything like that anywhere. There were Jewish people in the stands with us, and, like, they wouldn't stand for that. So I was proving that it wasn't true, which I'm glad I did. It went viral, uh, but I think a few people caught it
flagged it.
and they
Mm,
flagged it, and there was, like, a coordinated effort to kind of get me shut down.
yeah,
They also
sure.
saw some other videos that I posted where I, showed some of the devastation that happened in Gaza, and some of them may involve, like, people dying and stuff like that. They weren't, like, gruesome or anything, but, like, obviously people were dead. Um, and I think what they did was they tried to get that video shut down, and I got it appealed, and then they went through my entire account and tried to find another video to get shut
Oh my
down.
goodness. Wow.
And then yeah, and then I sent an appeal to TikTok, and the appeal got rejected, and
Wow.
their reasoning was authenticity and integrity, and I don't know what integrity means.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what
I don't know.
the authenticity being.
Authenticity,
I guess.
like, I'm not
Yeah.
faking who I am, like, I'm me.
Yeah. Right.
I used to be on the creator fund, so my ID, my social security, all that information's on there, even though I what you call it, opt out of the creator fund like a while ago. But yeah, I think it just got banned, and I had a bunch of people rally around me. So many people who follow me, they wrote in, they put in stuff, to try to get me back. And they said no, the decision is final, and they didn't tell me why. They
Wow.
didn't tell me, what video got it taken down. They just took down the entire thing. Um,
That's fascinating. And your content is still up on Instagram, obviously, because I see that all the
yeah,
time as
yeah.
well. And your podcast, none of that has been shut down.
No,
It was just on
it's
TikTok.
still on Instagram. That's all up on there. YouTube, all the stuff is still on there. Twitter, all the stuff is still on there. It's just TikTok. But TikTok was my
Yeah.
largest audience. I had
Mm,
140,000 followers. I had
wow.
significantly less on YouTube and on Instagram.
I guess what do you make of it? Like, is it? Do you think that that you were targeted? Yeah, I guess like what is your reaction now that a couple weeks
Yeah,
later?
I think it was definitely targeted because it was a specific organization at Rutgers, and I'm sure that
Mm,
there was one kid who was in the video, and I don't know. Me pointing out that everything he said was a lie is considered bullying. I don't know if that was it because I never called him names. I never said anything. I guess I called him a liar, which he was because none of that ever happened. Uh, but yeah, I think so, and this all happened, like, a week after there were talks about, like, people from Israel. They went to the TikTok office and talked to them because their content was leaning towards Palestine, which, like, isn't their algorithm, it's just the youth, right? Young kids are just uh,
yeah, more
more in line with the
younger people more
ceasefire and
interested.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
exactly.
travesty
Yeah.
that's been happening there. So, I don't know what happened, but I'm not dwelling on it. I remade a new TikTok. It's just the same name, Watch with Neebz 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
I don't know. It's gonna be 2 Watch 2 Neebs. I don't know. It's the sequel
Yeah,
basically. So I'm
that's nice.
starting brand new. I don't care.
I guess in that sense, like, are you going to be more worried about what you post
No, because now I
because
have
you could
less to
build this whole
lose.
thing?
I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I
Yeah,
have less
right.
to lose. I don't have 140,000 followers to lose. I have like 137 followers to lose. So I don't
Yeah.
really care what happens anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense. The other thing that I want to talk about is, um, after there were a couple articles in the past couple weeks about comparing essentially Muslims to animals, and
Mhm.
you saw it in the New York Times. We've covered it on the show. There was a Wall Street Journal opinion piece that essentially called Dearborn, Michigan, the hotbed or the heart of
Yeah.
jihad in America. And you wrote something on Instagram that went viral, just talking about how, you know, sometimes you wondered if it was worth it, just kind of this begging for representation. And then you have these two kind of, hit pieces that come out in a matter of days that can just influence so many people in the way they think. I would love for you to share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I saw these articles and it just like dawned on me how easy it is to flip the narrative so easily for some people. Like we've been trying to crawl out of this image that was pushed on us on September 11th, right? And it's something that I've dealt with personally because I actually am one of the engineers. Like my real job as an electrical engineer, I do control
Mm,
systems, and I worked on the Freedom Tower. I worked on the Freedom Tower when it was going up.
wow.
Uh, and around that time, the Ground Zero mosque controversy was happening. That was a big
Yeah, for
thing,
sure.
and I went to work every day, and I experienced so much racism in real life, from, like, blue-collar electricians and mechanics and stuff like that. Things like, not holding the elevator for me, so I have to go down all 100 flights of stairs and, like,
Wow.
people boxing me out, making sure I can't get on the elevators and stuff like that. Um, so it's been really, it's something that I'm, like, really familiar with. I remember that time. I remember how it felt right after, like, 9/11 and all that stuff was happening. So, when these articles come out, it kinda just reminded me of that, and I'm just, like, thinking about, like, what kind of progress we made, right? But we've crawled
Mm,
our way out of this image with, like, shows like Miss Marvel and, things that are happening, like We Are Lady
Ronnie and
Parts and
Mo, for
Polite
sure. Yeah.
Society. These are great shows that show us representation, and finally people are trying to see us for who we really are, just humans. And people with one article can just, like, change that. And then you go on
Yeah.
this Twitter, which is like a cesspool. I'm not calling it X, but it's like a cesspool, and, like, all these people are like, "Yes, Muslims have low IQ. This is why their countries are horribly
That's
messed up,
wild.
and
Yeah.
their animal, look at their countries, and like not realizing that like US intervention and colonization and imperialism are the reasons for all of these things happening, right? Like Pakistan in general, like the British looted half the stuff that we have. Africa is being looted to this day, right?
Yeah,
Things
right.
are happening in
Right.
Congo and Sudan and stuff like that. So people, they just, you know, you see an article that dehumanizes and people just pick it up and they're just like, "Yep, that's it." And
Yeah,
then they,
totally.
even if they meet you, they think you're the exception to the rule. They don't
Right,
think
right,
that
right,
majority of people are like us, and it
right,
doesn't make
right.
sense. But like when you go and see the looks on, job incomes and stuff like that, like Pakistani community is up there. Like I think like out of the 15 nationalities, I believe like 7 or 6 of them come from a Muslim country, or at least a country with
Majority
a
company.
decent Muslim
Interesting.
majority.
Yep,
So, like it's cognitive dissonance. They just want to believe that we're animals. They want to be desensitized to the
yeah,
stuff that's happening to us, because if they are desensitized, then they don't have to feel bad, and they don't want to feel
yeah.
bad.
So, what do you think is the path forward for us? I mean, I know you were hopeless a couple weeks ago, and things have been happening. But like, what is the path forward for us as a
So
community?
so the thing is, like, yes, I was feeling very hopeless. I seen so much progress be reversed so quickly. Uh, but I'm also very hopeful because, like, that is one generation. But if you look at Gen Z, they're built different. Like, they
Mm,
have, like, audacity, and I mean that in a good way. Like, they don't care, and they'll speak up to their teachers, they'll speak up to their bosses, like, they don't care. It's amazing to see. So, like, yeah, it feels hopeless because there's definitely a generation that will never get through. We're never gonna get through the boomers. We're probably not gonna get to the, Gen Y, Gen Zs, millennials, but Gen Z is definitely coming up different. It's
mm.
really, really cool to see.
Both you're saying both the kind of the general Gen Z population, but also the Muslim specific
Muslim,
Gen Z
no,
population.
I mean
Uh,
the white kids. I think the black
the
kids.
like
I
this.
think the Hispanic kids. Like all of these people are like, no, we're not gonna let you sell us this thing that you sold our parents. Like we're not gonna believe it.
Mm, yeah,
I've seen videos, the TikToks of people standing up for Muslims, and they're all young, they're babies, and it's
yeah,
really cool to see. Is very, very hopeful. So there is hope out there. Um,
yeah.
so I think as the generations come, like when our parents came here, their mode was survival. They're like, we're gonna eat this.
Mm.
Whatever racism that comes our way, we're just gonna eat this.
And your parents, same as my parents, where I came in the 60s, 70s,
Yeah.
80s type of thing,
And
right? Yeah.
then for us millennials, we went through 9/11, so we're like, okay, we're gonna have to eat this too. We're just going to
Mm,
deal with the racism. But then you see Gen Z come up, and they're like, no, we're born here. We're just like everyone else. There's nothing different about us. We don't have to worry about survival. We're There's so much crap happening in the world where we're probably not gonna be able to buy a house. We're probably not gonna have a big job. So like, I might as well speak up for what I believe. And I find Gen Z very hopeful. So I do think that we have to keep pushing their narrative forward, even though they keep pushing it back. So yeah, maybe we're taking one step forward and 2 steps back, but people are seeing us take these steps forward and take these step backs, and eventually, there will be children and kids in a generation that's going to take these steps back without getting pushed backwards.
yeah. And do you think that this role, the role of social media and the ease where people can get out opinions and share what's happening in real time is the cause of this in terms of, or the reason why Gen Z is so influential? They're able to see so much with their own eyes without the filter of kind of this corporate media or this, that sense. What is your opinion in terms of why they care so much?
Absolutely. I feel like the Gen Z has lost faith in media, and now they get to see stuff with their real eyes in real time, and they get to see what's actually happening. Like everything that I've seen, there's no way that's fake. Like these things are happening. These people are dying. I just saw the other day a little girl's body ripped in half. Like that's not fake. I've seen people's
It's
faces blown off. Like
horrible
that's
for
not
sure. Yeah.
fake, right? You can't manipulate that. And these are innocent people. And it's really, really sad to watch this. And there's really hard for someone to watch that and be like, "Oh, I don't care about these people." Like, I think
Yeah.
it's very telling. When I was, growing up and I saw what was happening in like Afghanistan and Iraq, like everything was being filtered from the media. We weren't seeing it
Right.
directly. We were like 100,000 civilians died in Iraq. Like we couldn't feel the devastation of that. We didn't see the videos. We didn't see all of that stuff. So, it didn't, you know, affect people the way this is affecting people now. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that there's these brave Palestinians out there with cameras
Yeah.
taking videos like with nothing. And Israel has $1 billion budget in marketing and propaganda, and they're losing to a couple of kids
Mm,
with cameras. Like
mm.
that's not fake. That's the truth will find the people it needs to find.
Neebs Khan, thanks so much for joining American Muslim Project. Where can people find
Sure.
you?
You can find me everywhere at WatchWithNeebz. Neebz is spelled NWBZ. On TikTok is WatchWithNeebz 2, since the first one got taken down. I also have a podcast called Salam Nerds. You can find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere podcasts can be found. We kind of talk about Marvel, Star Wars, reality TV shows, a little bit with a Muslim and South Asian, reference. And we try to be in a very inclusive podcast. So if we are talking about things like Black Panther, we'll make sure that people have people from that community on there. If we're talking about Blue Beetle, we'll have people from that community on here. So that's the goal of our show.
Awesome.
So we really, really love to give voices to people who are normally ignored.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.